Theresa Schleicher is regarded as Germany's leading future researcher in retail. She works as a strategic sparring partner for retail companies, the renowned Zukunftsinstitut, the Institute for the Future, and the German Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. And of course, the most pressing topic at the moment, not only for the wine trade, is how can we drive growth at the point of sale of the future? This is the question, and Theresa has the answers. Welcome on stage, Theresa.
Thank you very much. Hi, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the introduction. So that's me. Hi, I'm Theresa. I'm retail futurist. I work for different retail company, and today we are going to specialize about the point of sale, and especially on the perspective of Generation Z and younger generation, and with strategic and future outputs for small and medium-sized vineyards and companies. So if we look in the nearer future, there is one thing that we have to have in mind, is especially in 2026 and 2027, people want to save more money. I'm pretty sure that you all know that probably, because at the moment in many, many countries, we do have an effect to 4 different crises. We do have, of course, a climate crisis. We do have an inflation based on economic things. We do have geopolitical conflicts and also global wars here in Europe. And if we think about why do people spend so much money and not anymore and save money now, it is because they are quite scared at the moment of the future. You see, due to the meta crisis, there are a lot of anxieties coming up, and this is the reason why so many people want to save more money, because they are scared of the future. The first thing is they're afraid not to have any money for living. The essential things like your house, your food, your groceries. Next thing, they are very scared about the future due to violence and crime, and of course war and unrest. So it's kind of hard to speak about retail innovations and things coming up in this at moment, zeitgeist and society. But I will try to give you another perspective and probably a broader view on the future due to another things, and try to get it in a new context. So a few figures about the future. By 2040, 9.2 billion people will live in our world. We've heard it in a few presentations before. There are countries rising up and the world's population is rising up. And the first is India. Due to the next year is China, even though if you see it to 2050, it goes a bit back. And then Africa and other countries. So there's quite a lot growth, not here in Germany, but in many, many other countries. And this is also the reason that in our Western world, we see that there is a lot of price battle at the moment, because so many more countries and societies are coming in a market which is actually quite saturated right now. And they try to get some wealth for their people and their populations. Of course, they're rising up all these industries, and they do that, and they try to enter new market with a good price. So within the next years, there's also a thing which will still be, there is the price battle in Europe and also in the US. Another perspective that you can see is, of course, a high competition within these rising countries and population, but future is not linear. Future also works in different kind of new corporations and systems. So as we all see that, of course, the competition is rising up, there's another thing that is building right now. This is a new multipolar world order. Many countries say already that with all these population in the countries, we need to find a new structure and a new cooperation and new values working together, because we only have one world. So in the presentations before, we heard about new growing markets, like India is probably an interesting market for you as a winemaker and an exporter. And a few other countries also can be interesting. If you look on the map of where are the countries where the world population is still rising and there is a chance to step in. So a second thing is local exotic lifestyles and demands are increasing. If you see this now, this is more or less our society right now. We do have different generations, we do have different ethnic styles, so of course also a different kind of demands and dynamics. We've just done it at the Future Institute for Food, so not beverage at all, so food, but I think it shows you quite a lot of what is happening right now within our countries, that due to this diverse society, also the food innovations are becoming more exotic, locally exotic. You see it probably in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany, that fruits and vegetables, we do have Orania-Beeren now, we have citrus farms, we do have so much exotic innovation coming in our country, so it makes a diverse and a more varied flavor in our countries. The third one, which is a chance and of course also a risk, it is health and food demands, they change. We all hear that about sugar-free wine or low alcohol wine. We call it at the Future Institute healthy hedonism. Healthy hedonism is a zeitgeist thing within the generation of that. They try to combine two things. They want to have fun. They want to spend money, they want to have these joyful moments, but of course they want to also focus about their mental and their physical health. So they try to find new companies and they try to find new markets where healthy hedonism is a big thing. And they really celebrate that. This is a shop in Berlin, I live in Berlin, it's called Sinless Cake, it's a cheesecake factory and a cheesecake shop. And they do very, very good cheesecake, and it just has 80 calories per slice instead of 300 calories. And this is a really hype at social media at the moment. The shop is full. They open at noon and they close at probably a few hours later because it's already sold out. So the combination of having a healthnic and a fun experience, but also to understand that you don't have to insert so many nutritional things that are probably not that healthy is not a thing for the next generation. So also on the beverage side, you see a few things are actually developing, which is what we've heard before. Light wines is a big thing, sugar-free and alcoholic alternatives. If we step a bit more in the future, there is something coming out, it's like the medical products. And it will be seen as if it is a thing for wine or probably some wine alternatives. But it could be very interesting for the future markets. People try to understand what is happening in your own body. So probably things like what is happening with your gut, how many vitamins you need, what is probably interesting for your microhealth. So what comes is AI diagnostics products and services, but also lifestyle performance things that helps you for your gut. Actually, better gut is one of the best and one of the high rankings hashtags at the moment at TikTok and Instagram. So the new generation is also trying to recode or decode the products and traditional products we do have at the market, because they experience and that there could be some better alternatives, but also have this taste and the feeling and the experience. And if you can choose a better solution, why should you take the traditional ones before? The thing why we are at the moment in this, well, crisis, I would say, and the thing is why so many people are not spending so much money is because we are now right here in a transition phase, a transition of the different crises. We do have the old normal, where everything what we've known before still is a real thing, it's a normal thing. But we also have some new things coming up, like the healthinism, like sustainability things, like a new value in new beverages. And we are here at the moment, so it makes it so complex to understand where should we go, because this is right and also this is right. But if you try to go in the future, it's better to look in this direction, because it actually brings you on the brighter side within the next years. So what I'm going to show you is 3.5 developments of the point of sale of the future. So some strategies, especially also for a small and mid-term company, because I think that is quite important. So many presentations are showing best practices for the huge companies, and probably a smaller vineyard has no idea how he can implement and probably take that for his own chance. So, show you that. The first thing is about consciously make use of new POS opportunities. There is a lot at the moment, and there are wonderful vineyards and wonderful wines, but they actually are not seen. They are not visible. And there are so many opportunities right now to be more visible to the new and future consumers. For one example is the situational communication. It's about be there where the customer is. Use advertising. Also when it's so small, use near-field communication. It's like combine it with your online shop. Just to show you here, you can be a really good solution for everyone. You don't need to travel to the vineyard, but there are better solutions than going to a supermarket and probably buy a cheap wine if you can have another alternative, a local alternative. Use your own stores. It's actually, I'm going to show you within the next chart that this is not this expensive thing you probably think. Use your own neighborhood stores in urban environments, for example. And try to find new marketing corporations, especially in a bar or in a hotel, so everything where it's simple from the communication, but cooperation helps you to stay and to be visible, also as a small company. There is one example, and it's very, very hyping at the moment within the younger generation. It's called Lab. Have you probably heard about Lab before? Lab is a coffee shop, a new coffee shop, and is entering more and more cities in Germany. What they do, they take the little shops that are free at the moment because nobody is in all of the streets. They take it for less money, but they open very, very smart, very community-based coffee stores. The price is 2 or 3 euros one coffee, and that's hyping a lot because they bring dynamic back within some streets in Berlin, in Hamburg, and a few other ones. They have around 20 now stores alone in Berlin. And they got it on a very cheap level because it was free. Nobody wants to go in because fashion retailers are increasing, decreasing. So there is some space to use also for little vineyards to step in these stores. Another thing what I've told you before is the marketing corporations. This is an example what you probably can do in a bar. There are so many famous wine bars everywhere in Germany and in other countries. Just talk to the barkeepers and talk to the owners and try to find a nice way to communicate and to show what variety you have within or in your little vineyard on a local site. It's very easy. Discover a small winery, direct from the vineyard, looking for something special in your glass tonight. This wine comes from a small family-run winery, and the focus is on quality, character, and careful craftsmanship. And everyone who is there and wants to taste and try something new, they probably experience the online shop. They get a code from the barkeeper. It's a special code just for this night, and they probably will order if you want just to taste it. So think a bit more creatively and in new situations for selling wines. I've done a focus group with Gen Z people. It was about 100 people in the focus group, with 10 focus groups. And we're brainstorming about how can some wine and wine vendors could be more relevant within their generations. And there are just a few ones. And the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the top 8 they've mentioned. Community neighborhoods, so special urban wine clubs, festival stations and offers. Online shop and advertising in bars, what I showed you before. Wine vending machines in created locations. This is one, probably the most complex one, we all know that, but picnic station in nature, expert recommendations on city blocks, wine music shops. So we see there are so many opportunities and moments you can probably be relevant within a new and future community and generations. But at the moment, if you see that in the communication, what many wine shops and winemakers do is quite traditional. So you don't need to be surprised when you say the generation is not drinking my wine anymore. If you stay on the traditional side and the consumers and the Gen Z wants to have something else. Second one, All success models have to adopt new social rules. And I know probably within the last days you've heard a bit about social media, of course, and maybe you do a bit on social media. But I think you need to see the figures and facts to see how relevant it is in future. So at the moment, the followers on Instagram in Germany, I just choose one country, 3.5 million. Follow on TikTok, 22, and our population is 83. So it's around 40% who is on Instagram and a bit less on TikTok. So many people, and not only the younger generations, are on these social media channels, and they really are open to content, to inspiration, and also to new products. And social media is not also a thing that you say you need to be relevant, or you need to be visible on these social media channels. It's also a thing to understand this zeitgeist and the vibe that probably the people have on these social media channels. So if you translate it to the point of sales, there is one thing that is actually happening at the moment and is working quite good. It's make your point of sale Instagrammable. Instagrammable means that you do have a nice design, of course, where people can take photos and tell about their experience. But Instagrammable means also the merchandising. When you just look inside, and the curated collection is based on social trends. It can be color, it can be flavors. So be dynamic, show something that is a bit more social flexible, and show new trends based on probably the collections you have, because this means curation for the new generation. Curate them with the things they want to have and the new trends they're actually consuming. Also there, we can't go through it all because we don't have so much time, but also there I've done some focus groups, what you can do with experience in social media. You can have a local only creator program, so collaborations with influencers. Influencers temporarily take over the retail social media channel to create a stronger sense of local connection. Or you can make it an in-store co-creation, that a section of the store is set up as a mini studio where influencers can take products, live stream, and produce content. I know that seems a bit American, but actually this is a thing that is happening in Europe within these younger generations quite a lot. Third from 4 is price can be so much smarter. I know we're talking so much about discounts and prices and price strategies, but if you ask the people, and I've done that with some European countries, it was around 4,000 people, what kind of price you would prefer. And there were 3 things mentioned. The first is entry-level premium, so have a good collection with quality wine, which is not that luxury and not that cheap, but have on a stable field, good wine, good content, good value. Celebrated discounts. If you make a discount, then celebrate it. Do like it's a special birthday. It's like Happy Monday. We do that twice a year. So make a celebration about when you discount it, because if you just give a discount on normal products, it's probably not that valuable more. And the third one, which is also very, very interesting, I think, is add-ons, so surprises. So give your customers, when they come in the store, give them some special editions, some add-ons, because they really want to have it. This is actually, and I think we can also experience that this makes you happier than probably have 10% of something if you get something for free and without asking. So add-ons, be someone who is helpful for our customers, surprise them, make a special moment, a funny moment, because wine drinking is fun, is very important. Another aspect and another perspective, see it on price worthiness, is also a thing of curation. Especially if you talk with younger generations, they are not that expert in wine, but they want to make a smart choice. So price worthiness means also to get some products which are probably more on the undiscovered regions, some hidden gems. So 63% wants to try hidden gems, undiscovered regions, smarter choices from very expensive regions, for example, but another vineyard who is not that famous, not that known. So it is, of course, better in price value. And this is something that Generation Z says, oh, that's a smart choice. And you can have a good collection of wine for these buyers and not having price or a very luxury wine and give them discounts, discounts, discounts. Also a thing at the moment, this of course changes a lot because it's a social phenomenon. It's food and beverage trends at the moment from these hidden and undiscovered regions based on food and beverage. It's Albania, Croatia, Bulgaria, Greece, and Spain. So these are the regions that are trending at the moment, lifestyle trends within the food and beverage scene, within the younger generation. So this is the thing, if you show that in your shop and find some good wine makers and a good collection, you can offer a good price, but also a good quality, and probably a smarter and better collection through future customers. We have one thing to be price-worthy, what we've heard before. Another aspect of this is to be worth the price. Because we talk always about, in retail, about price value. So we have one choice to probably make something about the price, and the other side is to probably push the value, the communication, the things you have, more visible. And for this storytelling and stories also at the shelves in the supermarkets or in your own vineyard or in your wine shop are very, very, very important, because the customers and the potential customers are not in your bubble. They don't know what you've done before. They don't know how much work it is. They all don't know that, so you need to talk about that and you need to be proud of that. And of course, awards is a thing, especially in Europe, that gives an orientation for customers. Then about the production, how complex it is, and how good it is actually to produce a wine, show all the journey, the references, probably just highlight some quotes or references from media or from loyal customers, or make some little anecdotes, just some little funny story, make you really nice, warm, empathic. And I wonder that, especially in the food industry, if we talk about cheese, meat, things like that, we are so good in design, we are so good in making campaigns. Also in all these supermarkets, it looks so tasteful, it looks very, very yummy. But we are not that good in design in all these communication worlds if we talk about wine and especially beverages. The last one is, and this is just a very short one because we don't have the time to speak about so many technological trends. But I would give you one message based on technological innovations. If you talk about AI or something like that, focus on your internal processes within your companies. Also, if you have probably a two-man or two-woman company, you can use AI to make your processes, your internal processes, so much better. And on the customer view, focus on one thing, and that is loyalty. Because loyalty will be something that's going to be important within the next years. The most precious future customer is your existing customer. So of course we talk about how can we reach new generations, how can we reach more customers, but on this way don't lose your existing customers. And that's actually a problem, because so many are looking for new channels, new ways, but that is right, because we don't need to talk about the other things if that isn't right. But please be aware that you do have an existing customers and you need to have a really good quality to reach them. One thing in AI to make that better is focus on really good loyalty programs in future. And with it, large language models, so you can speak with your AI, there is a chance, and this is happening for the bigger retail companies at the moment, we have the chance to actually develop a really, really good loyalty program to your fans and your customers. There's just one example what some retail companies are doing right now, and I've turned it to wine here. A digital loyalty card through AI. What new wine trend should I consider? What is currently available that I will definitely enjoy? Which wine will impress my guests? And within your Speak in Loyalty program or loyalty card of the future, you can give some personal recommendations and, of course, discounts based on your buying behavior. You can start some conversation with the vineyard owners, chefs, sommeliers. And you can give them special treatments, what we've heard before, the add-ons, the prices, the quality, events, limited edition merchandising, meet and greets. And you can start customer influencer programs. So there is a lot of happening within the next years based on loyalty of the future and loyalty cards of the future. And I think it's very funny because if you look on the status quo in many retail branches based on loyalty cards, it looks like that most of the time. So we lose a connection to our future buyer and our customer actually, and we lose the chance to communicate with them even they are not in the POS, not on the store, but they're not taking these very probably easy to implement chances we've seen before. So, and in summary, for point of sale developments of the future, first, new POS opportunities with stories, with new opportunities, with creative hooks. New communication channels with social verse products and design, so be Instagrammable in your store and in the social media channels. Better pricing strategies. Don't think always of the discount of 10%, 15%. Think about smarter price strategies. Be worth the price or be price-worthy in another perspective. And the fourth thing, luxury treatments and loyalty service. Within digital innovations or not, but try to find a good way to be loyal to your existing customers and to help to grow this relationship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teresa. And before I give the microphone to the audience for their questions, I'd like to address some questions myself. You shared your strategies for the point of sale, but in most markets, such as in Germany, the wine retail is widely spread. There's retail stores, supermarkets, e-commerce systems. Would you say that your tips will apply to all of them, or are there differences to be made depending which channel the wine is sold in?
I think the way is pretty much the same in each kind of retail format. If you talk about supermarket or vineyard, wine shop, e-commerce shop, but how to implement it and the prioritization of it could be different. Because if you're, of course, a wine shop or a vineyard and you don't have so much time for things, focus on that is most obvious and most probably visible. So probably go more to communication and communicate that what makes you more valuable. Because you have so much within your production, you do have so much stories about your probably vineyard, about everything, so just show it, communicate it. And this you can do, for example, in social media channels and probably also outdoor in different kind of locations. So I think that would be first for the small and medium-sized company. Supermarkets, of course, they want to sell different kind of products, and probably they want to more concentrate on product bundles, for example, so they communicate in another way to show some worlds of lifestyle and joy and taste. So they combine a wine together with some nice cheese or innovations in a different country. So they do have another focus on all of these trends, but more or less it's quite the same if you look on the demands of the consumers of the future.
In the last years, and you also, of course, talked about AI, which is a big topic for all of us at the moment and will be becoming more relevant in the future even more. And also in the wine industry, in sales of wine, there have been a lot of technology developments in the last years. as you probably know, there are vending machines in the supermarket, in the retail store, where you can just click on a button and then you can taste this specific wine. There's touch screens where you can have a digital sommelier help you to find the right wine for your steak dinner or whatever. Isn't this the point of sale of the future? All about technology and artificial intelligence?
Well, the point of sale of the future is always about good relationships, because we have so many products and we have so many offers right now that the most important thing is to have a really good relationship with your customer and a very high trust level. So people at the point of sales and expertise in quality is fundamental. So if you talk about some technological innovations, and this is what I've mentioned before, the most important thing is you start with the internal processes, like probably find out more about the right demands, how many wines from these regions you've sold within the last month, what was the weather, and then make a better forecast. This can help you probably for a better dialogue with a supermarket buyer, but also helps you to sell better. But technological innovation should always support people selling better and communicating better.
Yeah, that already takes on a little bit on my next question. We in the wine industry, we always love to emphasize how much the wine industry is a people's business, how much wine is such an emotional product that lives also off of the passion of the people producing and selling it. So you would say technology is not replacing the human being in the wine trade in the future.
No, it's not replacing the moment. I mean, we all buy wine, more or less. We all buy wine because of having some joy, because actually to have a really good taste and to have a fun moment. So these are the essential things you need to transport and to communicate. So of course it will always be a human thing. And this is something we forget within a technological discussion. We just try to make it more efficient, we just make it more price-worthy, but in the end we forget we more or less are all the same than if we talk about technological things and talk about prices. We need to communicate and we need to innovate things that are unique. So speak more about the joy you have by producing the wine. Speak about some really, really nice design, attractive point of sales, architecture, some travel, some communication that makes a moment. And this is a thing why consumers of the future, and especially Generation Z, will buy some wine, because it just makes fun.
You specifically mentioned influencers as a help to push the product. We all in the wine industry, we know that. Some companies already started to work with them, but as we also know, they are not for free. They want money for what they are doing. Do you have any data or any experiences where you would say this is an amount of money you could start off? Because I think most, especially the smaller or medium-sized companies, are often very afraid that it has been such a huge investment and that they don't have the money.
Yeah.
Is there any? Can you give us any numbers or any data related to that, where it starts and what is necessary?
Well, that depends a bit on the communication strategy you probably have. If you say you want to focus on that within the next years, you probably can invest a bit more and go to these well-known influencers. Then you need to have a bit more money. You can start at 20,000 or probably more. You can also go to 200,000, but that's quite a lot actually. But if you can also start with some €100 probably, if you think about the right communication strategies. You can use some micro-influencers, for example, but you can also try to make your winemaker the next influencer of the vineyard. So it really depends on the communication social media strategy you probably have. And the thing I've mentioned, the Instagrammable store and the Instagrammable shop, this is something that is so easy and it works in so many retail branches that you just try to curate what you have on a way that it is Instagrammable and that shows the trends and the zeitgeist things that the younger generation wants to have. And then they probably make a photo, and you can also encourage them, of course, with some things. Please make a photo and you probably get a wine for free or something like that. So use also your customers to be some micro-influencers. So it starts at the beginning, and it can probably cost nothing till 100 euros, but of course you can also go with 100,000, 200,000. Again, it depends on the communication strategy.
Before I come to my last and closing question, I would like to ask the audience, is there any question for Teresa that you might want to ask right now? I do not see any, so I would, as my last question, would love to ask you, what can wine sales, what can wine trade learn from other retail categories? What do they do best? Which are those? Which ones do you find the most inspiring at the moment? And where do you think we sometimes should look a little bit at what other categories do?
Well, it's always interesting to look at different kind of branches, but I mean, probably from the fashion industry, you can learn, be more open to new innovations. Because if you talk about alcohol-free wines or sugar-free wines, the traditional vineyards, and of course the sales show that the traditional ones are huger at the moment than the other ones, but it's a trending thing. And sometimes we are not that open in this branch for some new innovation, especially product innovation. And fashion industry is totally different. They scan it on a yearly basis, or probably also just 2 or 3 months, because the production process is shorter. But they try to find new trends, new product innovations, because they want to sell some new thing that highlights a shopping moment. And this is something we can learn in the wine industry, I think, quite a lot. And also in grocery, you can learn quite a lot from the loyalty cards, probably, or the installation of point of sales. So just look around at another lifestyle retail industries, like food, grocery, or probably fashion. I think that could be also a good inspiration.
Yeah, maybe that's for all of us and for all industry. It's always good to like sometimes step out of your own bubble and look what the others around you do. Thank you very much, Teresa.
Welcome.
And of course, again for you, please, thank you.